approve it, he has to choose it.
I just want to say, ours is a little bit of an apples and oranges, because ours was just if you can't find a large enough campus to do whatever else you want to do. So, not that we don't want to win the popularity contest, but, you know, we just want to make it clear that it's kind of, you know, a second tier idea because of the fact that we don't know if there's going to be any large
You know,
spaces.
when you say it, I think it's a good idea, because that's certainly a possibility.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like,
Right,
I would not
but
call
we're
it
not
second
saying
tier.
do it
Yeah.
if you could find something larger that everyone is
Yeah.
happy with, so.
And I think that that's an issue too, on the ones that we kind of decide to go further and dig into. That's certainly something that's gonna come out in that criteria analysis and some of the comments that we'll be able to make on there about if it could or couldn't, people might feel strongly about, yes, it should or it shouldn't include that, and that'll come out when we dig more in depth to it. We're gonna make one little addition to the voting, because we have a lot of really dedicated community members who've been with us along this process. You are also going to get 5 dots, I know. It's-
Audience
I
participation.
know, it's a little bit of a late holiday gift, but they're gonna be a different color, just so we can designate if it was a community vote or a committee vote. But you've been listening to the presentations as well, so you have 5 blue dots. And the way the dots work is you may put 1 dot on 5 different options, you may put all 5 dots on one option, 2, 3, 4, 1, we could campaign, we could have printed buttons, but we're not gonna do that. So take maybe about 5 or 10 minutes, we'll kind of see how much, go ahead and look and vote.
There you go.
There's a Nations Playing Club. I guess so. Everyone needs a facility. Put on a team coming out.
Okay. So
So I think one of the things we have to look at also is committee votes versus votes by the public, right? Because we want to make sure that we are going to explore the things that the committee really, although I really appreciate having the public participate and have that information. So of the ones that rose to the top, could we maybe just calculate the committee votes for each of those so we're
Were they
sure?
different colors?
The public votes are blue.
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is 22.
So the questions come up, how many are we willing to kind of take through the full option analysis? Logistically, I think if there's more than 4, we're gonna have a hard time doing that and getting that information in the time we want for that March 9th report. So I think 4 or less would be ideal. Okay, so we're getting the splits on these. I feel like this is like a very scientific process.
You're drilling down to the split.
Yeah. We do
That's right.
need big data.
That's, where is our supercomputer to cry?
24.
Tom needs to.
22 and 4.
Okay.
So I think based on that, and I want to know if you guys agree, I definitely think that 2, at least 2 that we need to explore are the Magnet Choice School and the Mega Middle. Both of those had 22 committee members who voted for them. So it seems to be at least 2 options that we want to take forward and look at more in depth. Is there any objection to that?
Not a third one?
No, I'm saying at least those 2. Okay, so we know that.
So that'll be our next meeting.
So then the other ones that had 12 were really 8 committee votes and
So we had,
12,
And the 11 one was.
this was 10 and 1,
well,
12 and 0, and 8 and 4.
so the 2 that had 12 total votes, one of those is 12 committee votes, and one of those is 8 committee votes. And then the one that had 11 was 10 committee votes. So of those 3 options, it definitely looks like the 2 small sites, that's a clear one that committee members have consensus on looking at.
Third.
So that'll be our third one we'll explore. And then the question is between the preschool Brenda model, and it is now. It's called that. The one thing that I will add about the one where we had 8 committee votes and 4 community votes, BCS in North of El Camino, middle school conversion, We actually have already analyzed that option in option 1. It just is a specific assignment of a school and a site location. So my recommendation, and you guys need to chime in, is that that's not one we possibly need to go back and explore because we already did a full option analysis on buy a new site and give it to BCS. This one just says, do that, find the land in North of El Camino and give it to them. How do people feel if that's not one we take forward? Because if you look at strict committee votes, that would be the 5th highest option.
I think we've already, like, I don't think we're gonna get any new information from doing it again. Cause I think we'll say the same thing.
Hmm.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think,
It might be interesting to note when we get to the part about what pieces do we want into our report, that could be a little bit of a footnote on option 1, that there was a new option proposed that was a variation of that and specified that part. So it might be good to keep that in mind.
get to that meeting on the 25th, right,
Yes.
or when we start putting together. Okay, so I don't know how to mark this, I'm gonna say variation of 1.
Variation of option 1. So then it looks like the 4 that we'll go forward with at the next 2 meetings to take through the option analysis are the magnet and magnet school, mega middle, the 2 small sites and the pre-K, the private
Pre-K.
yeah,
Can I make an observation?
yes.
I don't think any of the options then that are going forward, the 3 that we addressed earlier, and all of them now, not a single one of them handles the growth in the north end of the district.
Well, that's not
Which-
correct, because the, isn't it a small site? Does say.
Specifically addressing the growth in the north of the district, which one does?
Reference.
So I think so let's take that piece of feedback and let's look at our charge for our committee and figure out where in here it's asking us to specifically think about north of El Camino growth. And are we, by not looking at that specifically, are we meeting our charge?
So the highest growth area in the district is the north of El Camino. And the previous long-term facilities plan had 2 ranked options. One was to find a place for BCS as the highest priority, and the second highest priority was to deal with enrollment growth in the north of the district. So this is something that's come out of other, what?
Is there a
North end of the
difference between
district.
north end of the district and north of El Camino? I just want to clarify.
Okay, north end of the district. I will take Brooks' edit. My observation is that none of the options that we are advancing forward deals with growth in the north end of the district.
So I think that's your opinion. Is there other opinions about that?
I just think that once you start talking in terms of well, BCS is in a sense a magnet school. I mean, it draws from that whole area. And if you talk about another magnet school, another concept like that or a model program, it's going to draw from. So I think it's going to be interesting to see if the trend stays that people just go to the closest school if they have choices of different programs and different options. It may change that population movement a little bit. It may change the numbers a little bit. So I mean that's just something I think we should consider, that it may not traditionally be that everyone goes to the closest school if they have choices between this program and that program. That was in one of the popular choices here where they had the magnet schools and the special programs.
Yeah.
It
I think
changes
that
people's
some
We're
ideas.
addressing it
Some
here.
of the specifics within these plans, if you drill down on them, I mean, for instance, in this one, there's a scenario where you take Santa Rita and move it to Egan, and Covington becomes the mega middle, and BCS takes that, and then you've got, an elementary closer to north of El Camino pulling. So I think there's a lot of details down in some of these that could address north of El Camino. But that's not my understanding that it's part of our specific charge to target just that area in our feedback to the board for this committee.
Yeah, and
I
also
agree
again,
that it's a piece of the puzzle. My point was is that it's,
Yeah.
but I just wanted to make that observation.
Well, again, the small site, you know, what we focused on was that the ideal would be to have a small site at north of El Camino, if not two. But if you could only have one small site, to have it north of El Camino so that younger children don't travel the way they do now, and then put the older children on one of the middle school sites if you couldn't find two close together. So that is a consideration for north of El Camino.
Can I make one quick comment? It's a little bit, maybe too down low there. I think that sounds better in theory than practice. I use my own experiences.
Could be.
You got two kids, and one's 6 years old and one is 10 years old, and you gotta go to two schools, you're actually worsening the commuting issue than if you have both of them going 3 miles away to one school. So by putting a small K-2 school or whatever on El Camino, you may not actually be helping, well, you would not be helping me. I would be better off, I think, just going all the way to Covington once, rather than taking the little one to El Camino and then the older one to Covington.
Right, but the whole point of that as an alternative is if you can't find,
No, I
The
think
large
this, I think
sites.
this is worth exploring,
So,
and that's why I said
it's just a
maybe I'm
fallback.
making a premature comment, because I think it's worth exploring.
Okay, so it sounds like we've at least done some narrowing. And then the next two meetings will be dedicated to these four options, looking at them with that close lens and taking them through the process we've used on the other options up until now.
So do we want to assign numbers to them over here? Can we just easily say this is 4, right? We've done 3 so far, right? Unless you snuck one in. We'll call that one 5. Call this one 6. And this one 7. Just for reference from here on out. Okay? Sound good?
So everybody has the dates for the future meetings. We've got an extra back-to-back one in there because of the winter break in February. So we have the 21st and then the 5th. And then we don't meet again until the 25th of February, but also meeting on March 4th, knowing that we may need that time to make sure that our interim report to the board is ready to go on the 9th.
Can you say the specific dates again?
They're on here, right? This says
On the
4,
back of the
not
minutes.
5. Is this right?
Oh, grab one of those.
It's on the back,
You have them
but
right, I checked them
let's just
again.
confirm the
4th?
4th versus
Oh,
the
I did
5th.
have it right.
You had it right.
I think it is the
So what's back?
4th.
What's back to that?
And then the 9th
Maybe I
is
missed
the,
it.
The 21,
I thought you said 5th,
Yeah.
sorry.
I don't know.
March 4th?
Oh, no, the
The 25th and the 4th.
February 4th.
Got it. That's where I was standing. Randy, would you like this back?
February 4th?
You need it?
No, I'm good, thanks.
25th?
Yep. And 4th. And then March 9th being a Monday board meeting.
And January 4th.
Yeah.
Any other business or wrap up? Okay, if that's it, I think we can adjourn. Thank you.
Healthy.